Hey guys, welcome into the Stinky Truth Podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside my co-host Mike Evans, and hey, the NFL never disappoints. 365. I mean, it always has to be fed.
I need to interrupt here, okay? Because look, I know you're just itching to do this. You're trying to be polite and everything.
What are you talking about?
Let's just get on with it. Let's get it over with. There's a certain message you'd like to deliver to everybody.
Oh, I had completely forgotten.
Right.
Yeah, what I would like to say is, I told you so. That's right. I told you so. And I am now accepting your apology. That's right. You can apologize straight to me on Twitter at Mark Schlereth or on Instagram at Mark Schlereth, because I was right all along. Yes, Aaron Rodgers was getting traded. Yes, he was. It just took a couple of years for it to come to fruition, but I was right. You were wrong. I am smart. You are dumb. Live with it.
Should we recap people, just give people a quick little synopsis of where this all started a couple years ago?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
So at draft night a couple years ago,
right,
I get a phone call from Mark, and he's like, "Hey, I'm getting some information about Aaron Rodgers maybe being traded to the Broncos." I'm like, "Well, tell me about it."
Yeah, you're do tell.
Do tell. And so you told me your source, impeccable source, by the way. I said, dude, we're in the midst of our radio Broncos draft coverage. You got to go on with that.
Right.
And you went on.
Now, to my credit, I didn't really want to go on because I'm not a reporter or a newsbreaker.
No, but what you were sitting on was monumental. So you went on and take it from there.
So I went on and said, hey, listen, I've got information that a deal is in the works. It's as it was told to me, almost a done deal. There's some things that could fall through, but this is exactly how I reported it. Of course, nobody says almost. Everybody goes, done deal, right? But
that's all people heard.
Right, that's all people heard. So anyhow, it obviously doesn't happen. And, and then the Packers and the Broncos deny having official talks. When anybody says we haven't had official talks, it means they've been talking a lot. It's not like it's through runners, They send it to some underling. So it's not an official talk, but they've been talking a lot. And how I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this deal was going down. This is several years ago when the Broncos on draft night looked like they were going to trade for Rodgers. How I know this is beyond the shadow of a doubt. As soon as I got off air, as soon as we went to commercial break, after I'd said, hey, man, this is almost a done deal, they've got a deal in place, my phone rings, and it's the Denver Broncos. So I answer it. Hey, Stink, what's going on? How are you? Who told you this? Where'd you get your information? Who's your source? I'm not going to tell you my source. You're talking to Aaron Rodgers, aren't you? Yeah, I'm texting back and forth with Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron is not my source. Come on, who's your source? I'm not going to tell you who my source is. All right. And that was the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Now, I get enough phone calls from the Denver Broncos because I do local radio here in Denver.
Yes.
I get enough phone calls that if I say something that they don't like or that is untrue or there is a different side to the story, I will get a phone call from multiple people over there. Back in the day, from the president on down to the main media guy. Hey, Stink, we just want to tell you, make sure, that's one side or one version of the story, but here's our version of the story. Like, we just want to give you full information. Hey, Stink, what you're saying is not 100% correct, and we don't want you to look dumb, so, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Stink, like, I get those phone calls on occasion, right? There was not one, hey, it's erroneous information. Hey, we haven't had one conversation. Hey, it's not, I did not get one. Who's your source? Who told you this? You're talking to Aaron Rodgers, aren't you? That was exactly how the conversation went down. And then it just got bolstered a year ago when all of a sudden, out of the blue, Nathaniel Hackett becomes the head coach simply because there was another potential deal in place. Nathaniel Hackett comes here as a pseudo offensive coordinator who doesn't call plays to be the head coach simply because of the relationship he has with Aaron Rodgers. And, just follow the tea leaves or follow the track that's laid out for you. It's dot to dot. All of a sudden, a guy who completely failed as a play caller, who had the worst offense in all of football, that had to give up play calling because of the pressure in the 3/4 of the mark of the season. All of a sudden, that's the guy you want to be your coordinator when New York? Like a guy that just failed miserably in game management, play calling. Russell Wilson just looked like, he looked like a rookie. That's the guy you need to be your offensive coordinator. Come on. Just follow the tea leaves. So Packer fan, you're welcome, and I'm accepting your apology because I've earned it.
Well, while you're handing out messages, you've had quite a colorful history with the New York Jet fans out there over the last couple of years. So what would be your message to Jets fans about what they're getting in Aaron Rodgers?
In Aaron Rodgers, you are getting, he's a multiple-time MVP. Last year notwithstanding, he won back-to-back MVPs. Who's bristled. Like when Aaron is bristled, that's the guy you want playing for you. For the Jets and the Jet fans, and listen, man, I give you guys a lot of shit. You deserve it. But I couldn't be happier for the Jets. Like, this is a huge, huge deal for them. And Aaron Rodgers is playing at a level that still puts him in the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the National Football League. The guy's phenomenal. And he's one of the, literally, regardless of position, one of the smartest players I've ever talked to. You sit down with Aaron Rodgers and you meet with him pregame, dude, the stuff that he thinks about, the stuff that he talks about, the way he designs and thinks about plays and schemes and how he's phenomenal. And then you look at the Jets in general. Obviously, Robert Saleh is a guy that I have a ton of respect for. I think he's not a good coach. He's a great coach. He's a great man. And I think the Jets have a ton of respect for them. And they have a stellar defense under Robert Saleh. Incredible. And then you start looking at the young talent that they've amassed, from Garrett Wilson to Hardman to Breece Hall they went out and got Lazard. They've got a cavalcade of young offensive players that can really play. Really play. And now Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. If they're not the favorite in that division, I understand that division is tough. Like, let's put New England. When have we ever said New England's a clear 4?
They are.
Clear 4.
Yeah.
Right? They don't even like their quarterback, the Squishy Mac that they drafted years ago.
Right.
So, there have been reports that they're not happy. There's a little controversy there. So you got Squishy Mac and the Patriots, a far distance 4. Then I would say, hey, Miami and Tua, there's still question marks about Tua's health. He contemplated retirement. And you got the Buffalo Bills, number 1, but clearly nipping at their heels are the Jets. With this move, I could see if the Jets aren't, they're either making a wild card playoff run or it's coming down to the last 2 games of the season to see who wins that division between the Bills and the Jets. That to me, that's how significant this move is for the New York Jets.
All right, so you think Aaron Rodgers has a lot of football left in the tank?
Oh, yeah. If Aaron Rodgers wants to play another 2 or 3 years physically, unless something dramatic happens, right? Unless some dramatic injury happens. We keep thinking about Peyton Manning and thinking about the age.
Yeah.
The age finally got him. That neck injury was so severe, and it was thought that he'd never play again. He lost the ability to grip the football and stuff, and he rehabbed that thing, and he worked his butt off, and he put up a couple of phenomenal years in 2012, 2013. Just incredible years. But about midway through the 2014 season, a game against the Rams, it jumped him. And all of a sudden, man, he was just, noodle arm. And it was never, from that point forward, it was never the same again. Even though they won a championship in 2015, let's face it. He sat for 7 games while Brock Osweiler went 5-2, I believe, during that time. Then he came back for a playoff run, and he gave them credibility from the standpoint of, manipulating the defense and making sure, you got those looks and when to check to run and all that stuff. But that defense led them to a world championship.
So you have no doubts about Aaron Rodgers physically, and you just, I think, let slip without meaning to what seems to be the real issue with Aaron Rodgers, and that is his motivation to play. And this feeling that is out there that, hey, Aaron may just decide after 1 year with the Jets, okay, I'm good. I'm going to go, go off
Right.
and to do retreats and examine my mind and do all these things. You've gotten to know Aaron over the last decade plus, and you've sat with him. Who is Aaron Rodgers? Because I think that's the big question right now. Who is Aaron Rodgers? Because all we've heard over the last couple off seasons is drama and things that aren't related at all to Sunday football. So who is this guy, and what is his commitment to football? How passionate is he about football? Because that, I think, is the biggest issue that Jets fans or a lot of NFL fans are asking right now when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. I think most people agree with you. This is a guy who can still physically, he can still sling it. He can still move around. Right. Durability isn't an issue. But where does football importance rank for him?
Right. Okay, I would ask you this. Like, when you say drama, what is your perspective on the drama? What do you think the drama is?
He just seems to always find himself involved in stuff that has very little to do with football.
Right. Well, I would say that I would disagree in that I think all his stuff, the drama, is very much involved in football in that I've earned the right over all this time. I have been one of the elite level players in the National Football League, and the Packers, I've earned the right to not necessarily to make the decisions, but at least to be consulted. So the real drama started, in my mind, and I could be wrong, but the real drama started back when on draft night they took Jordan Love and then lied about. Like, the Green Bay Packers lied about, oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers is on board. They just flat out fibbed. They total fib. Because Aaron Rodgers came out and go, I had no idea that this is the direction. And so I think that's when, like, he always had a few complaints about, hey, level of talent, the receivers you're drafting. We haven't had, the first guy to catch a touchdown who's a first-round draft choice was Mercedes Lewis over the course of his career. Like, they've never really invested that. Now, listen, that doesn't bother me because Devontae Adams became a superstar in the second round. Like, they have developed some star players, and a lot of that is because their quarterback is that good. And so I think players are really good if you're honest. But when you're throwing bullshit at them, that irritates. I think that like I've always said, like, I had this exit meeting. Let me just tell you about one of the reasons I still have animosity toward Washington and the Redskins. I had this exit meeting. This is 1994. This is before I left and I was done playing there. Before I left, and I'm coming off of Guillain-Barré. I lose all the feeling in my arms and legs in 1993. I fight to get back in 94. They end up rotating me. I start the first 4 games or so, and then the guy they signed in free agency to replace me, it was a good buddy of mine, John Giesick. He comes in and plays because he had a neck injury or something. And anyhow, we end up rotating throughout the season until he gets hurt again, and I finished the last 4 games of the season or whatever it is, right? And I have my exit meeting, and they have the nerve and the audacity to tell me the reason they were rotating me is because they were concerned about my health. Fuck you. You are not concerned about my health. You didn't give a shit about my health. That had nothing to do with it. You signed somebody to replace me. So don't give me that. You didn't have any problem with my health when I was playing injured all of 92 and 91 and every other year when I was going out there and I shouldn't have been playing. You had no concern about it. But now all of a sudden you were concerned about my health, or you want a management. You want to manage. And that's exactly, by the way, that's exactly how the conversation went. It was a big F you to the people I was talking to. And so, like, if you'd have just come to me and said, hey, listen, man, you were one of the best guards in football. You got sick. You came into camp. You didn't have your weight. And we were moving on. I would be fine with that. But don't give me a line of bullshit about how you wanted to protect me because you were so concerned about me and my health issues. Stop it.
All right, so there shouldn't be any issues.
There's no
from
not
that
gonna,
standpoint.
Yeah, they're not going to be. The animosity
is gone.
Dealt with the Packers,
right?
Because of the Packers' decisions, the decisions they made to not include him in those.
But this is also somebody who has a lot of interests outside football, and we've certainly been brought up to speed on darkness retreats and ghee butter and missing mini camps and stuff like that. The whole immunization versus vaccination stuff. I mean, there's
that. Now that part is just him being a snarky, intelligent ass.
Okay.
I'll give.
But
I'll give you that.
It still raises some questions. Is this a guy that burns for football? Especially since there is such a feeling out there that, and you've admitted to it too, that, hey, this could be a 1-year thing.
Yeah.
It could be a 2-year thing. And I don't think you base that on physically he's only got a year in him.
No.
I think you think he could be Brady-esque and play pretty, into his early to mid-40s. So, then I guess my question that I think Jets fans would want to know is, how committed is he to football?
Yeah. So let me just say that dude, and I have nothing but respect for the snarky kind of ass.
Right? You two are birds of a feather in that regard.
Because, gracious loser really is a dick when it comes to winning. And that's Aaron Rodgers. Let's just think about his whole, Chicago Bears, I own you, I'm your daddy. Yeah. Just the whole shit.
I love that stuff.
Yeah. His competitiveness, that dude is as competitive as they come. Now, he's, like I said, he's super intelligent. He's a super smart guy, but I just know that he loves to compete. And here's the other thing. I think most of the guys love playing with Aaron Rodgers, love playing for Aaron Rodgers. So, now, could he retire after a year? Certainly, anything's possible. But, Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, they won a Super Bowl the first year. And I'm not saying the Jets are going to win a Super Bowl, but at least you've got an opportunity. So, and if he plays 1 year, so be it. If he plays 2 years, you're a winner. So I think what the Jets did was brilliant. I think it's a great move by the New York Jets, and we'll see exactly the dividends that it pays.
It's crazy what's going on in the AFC right now. Okay, I got this. I'm stealing this from Albert Breer.
Okay,
check this out. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, we'll assume is still with Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson.
Dude,
you've got 9 quarterbacks there that have either been highly drafted, highly paid,
high level of success,
lot given up to trade for them. 2 of these guys will not make the playoffs next year automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even adding in Tua in Miami, Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh. They're high on Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
My question is in the AFC, the popular opinion is that in the NFL, you got to get a quarterback.
Right.
Well, in the AFC, is it as important? Or, hey, you could have a quarterback, and it may not make a difference.
Right.
you can have the quarterback and still miss the playoffs. So are we seeing in the AFC maybe a shift to the all-encompassing importance of the quarterback versus, hey, you know what? You might want to make sure you're building a really good team.
Yeah.
Because just having the quarterback isn't going to be enough when it comes to the AFC.
You got to have a quarterback. I mean, we've talked about on and on and on about quarterback dependence. You know, it's a quarterback-dependent league. Well, it might be a quarterback dependent, but it may be a quarterback-deprived league. So if you don't have one, automatically you don't have a choice,
right?
Or you don't have a chance,
right?
So quarterback-dependent versus quarterback-deprived league. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. But just having a quarterback isn't necessarily give you a chance either. You just mentioned, you rattled off 9 guys who are Pro Bowl caliber quarterbacks in the AFC, meaning 2 are not going to go to the playoffs. Automatically. So now it's having a quarterback and managing your cap and developing a team around that quarterback.
So I guess what I'm getting at is that when you're looking for that quarterback, how aggressive / desperate are you going to be to try to address that quarterback need, knowing that you could find the guy and he could still be the 8th, 9th best quarterback in your conference?
Right. But at least you have a chance. Like that's what the Jets are looking at right now with Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. At least it gives us a chance. We've built a pretty good roster. But, you know, we failed with Sam Darnold. We failed with Zach Wilson. Maybe to no fault of their own. Maybe it was their fault, whatever the case may be. But we inject Aaron Rodgers into the roster we've built, and we are already in that. We're in the conversation of competitiveness of those 9 quarterbacks you rattled off. Mm-hmm. And so at least it gives you a fighting chance. Come on. In Houston right now, hey, DeMeco Ryans might be the greatest coach in the history of the National Football League. They ain't going to win without a quarterback. You can build a great defense. You're not going to win without a quarterback. I mean, hell, look at the Broncos last year with Russell Wilson. Their offense was anemic. It was the worst offense in football. Their defense was one of the top-rated defenses in football. They won 5 games. You know, that whole defense wins championship thing that everybody likes to talk about? You can have a stellar defense. If you can't produce on the offensive side of the ball, I'm sorry, you can't win. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They won a Super Bowl based upon their quarterback and their tight end. And really their O-line, the 7th-round running back. They had 7 rookies that when they got into nickel and dime situations, 7 rookies on their defense that were playing. They just went, hey, listen,
but
we'll survive.
See, your answer surprises me a little bit because you've sort of railed against the idea of overdrafting quarterbacks and looking at the track record of a lot of these quarterbacks that get taken in the first round, especially high up in the first round. It's really poor. It's spotty at best. So are you still advocating? I'm not arguing with you about the importance of the quarterback, but I'm talking about the way you go about trying to find the answer at quarterback. When I just give you this list, if you're an AFC team, is it worth taking a gamble like that? Drafting a player that, hey, you may not have a high first-round grade on, but, hey, we need a quarterback, even knowing that track record being spotty, all the misses, and also the understanding that, hey, you know, even if he does work out, he's going to be ranked among the – there's going to be a bunch of quarterbacks ranked ahead of him. I'm just curious if you still think it's worth taking that kind of a gamble to try to address the quarterback, or are you better off, hey, let's just continue to try to find our quarterback, but in the process, let's bring in some really good football players to build that team up like the Jets.
Right.
Like the Jets
I'm all about building and constructing your roster.
Okay.
Like I'm all about physically dominating both lines of scrimmage. I don't think you win. Even if you have a great quarterback, you don't win championships if you can't physically. I mean, I was part of the Denver Broncos for a long time that went to 3 Super Bowls and got lambasted in all 3 Super Bowls, even had a superstar quarterback in John Elway. You know, got beat, 55-10 to San Francisco. They got beat by the by the Redskins. The Redskins scored 37 points or 34 points or something like that in the second quarter alone. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then that Giants game where they got absolutely ramshackled because they couldn't control the line of scrimmage. They had John Elway as a quarterback.
Right.
He was a superstar. Didn't work out.
Right.
Didn't work out. Till you start to get to the point where you can dominate both lines of scrimmage. So even if you have a great quarterback, if you can't dominate lines of scrimmage, you can win a lot of games, but to win a championship that way, I don't think it's going to happen.
And last thought, because I want to get some other thoughts on this deal. But you're Houston at number 2.
Uh-huh.
And let's say the assumption is Bryce Young goes number 1, right?
Okay.
You're sitting there, you're looking at C.J. Stroud, you're looking at Will Levis, you're looking at Anthony Richardson, you're looking at all these guys, right? Unless you're absolutely sure
Correct.
that this guy, Stroud, for example, has the goods, aren't you better off just going out and getting yourself a war daddy of a player? And we'll deal with the quarterback position a different way?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Here's the problem with that. Is because the players have allowed the owners to win in negotiation with the quarterback, with the fifth-year option and with the rookie wage scale or rookie wage deal. Now it incentivizes teams to not do their homework, to just draft a guy and sell hope. And, and basically say, hey, man, hope is our strategy. See, the teams that draft a dude and are committed, they really believe. Like the Buffalo Bills took a guy in Josh Allen that there were a ton of question marks about. But they were smart enough to realize big-time talent, unbelievable talent, super smart, huge chip on his shoulder. All those things are true about him. And, oh, by the way, Wyoming is not a hotbed for anybody to have success. So you're thinking about, let's face it, let's talk about, quote-unquote, skill position players, okay? You know how much I hate that. How many guys are going to Wyoming to catch the football, to run not many. They don't want to wind tunnel. It's cold. It's nasty. Couple that with the fact that you're playing a pro-style offense and you're actually pushing the ball down the field. Like Buffalo was able to look at that and go, yeah, he's only completing 52% of his passes, but that's actually based on that offense they're running. It's not Baker Mayfield throwing 17 bubble screens in a game against, whoever in a league they don't play defense. And, and going, wow, he's got the highest completion percentage in the history of, no. You better be sold on the guy that you're the problem is you better be sold on the guy that you're drafting and then committed to
right.
whatever it takes to make that guy good, as opposed to what's going on right now. Well, it doesn't hamstring us like it did in the Jamarcus Russell days, so we'll just take it.
That's the thing. I just think there's too many decisions are just being made. Hey, let's hope it works out. Let's throw a dart, hope it works out.
Right, because it's made by people who are trying to justify the pick as opposed to doing the work, right? It's made by a bunch of ballless dudes that don't want responsibility, so they're like, hey, he checked all the boxes, and then it's yours now. If he doesn't work out, that's your fault.
And you know what? In the NFC right now, you could probably get away with taking some of those gambles. In the AFC, with what we're looking at and that list of quarterbacks I just gave you, I don't know if it's the wisest strategy. Anyway, last thing. You're handing out messages. What would be your message to Packer fan? Kind of left unsaid in all this is, what does this deal mean for the Packers? Are they the team to beat still in the NFC North? Who is the team to beat in the NFC North?
Packer fan. Ooh, that's a great question. Listen, I really love the progress. And this just comes straight from the mouth of Aaron Rodgers that Jordan Love made over the course of last year. Becoming, and I say this all the time, just because you play a pro sport doesn't make you a professional. Aaron Rodgers flat told me Jordan Love became a professional last year. Essentially. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
Hell of an endorsement.
Right? The dude grew leaps and bounds, was dominating on the look squad. And he goes, and that's what you have to do. So it's what I did. Is like I took that as every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as my game day, backing up Brett Favre. Like I want to eat them alive. I want to let them know that it's the real deal. And Jordan Love embraced that last year. So I've got high hopes for Jordan Love. Now I think, like if the Detroit Lions don't go for it on every freaking fourth down, like if they don't do that,
Dan Campbell.
Dan. And I'm a Dan guy. I love
you're
Dan.
a Dan guy. But back off the fourth downs a bit.
You pump your brakes. Maybe have somebody else make a decision for you. But I think the Lions have a chance to be really good. I think the Lions have a chance to win that division.
So handicap them real quick. If you had to pick the order of finish, now that we know the quarterback situations and the teams are pretty well.
All right. I'm going to go Lions, then Vikings and Packers kind of neck and neck, and then the Bears.
Still last, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Yes. Although I love the youth of that team. I love the direction they went. I think their quarterback grew leaps and bounds last year. I think Justin Fields really made some great improvements. They're still the Bears. Right.
Well, now that you've kind of formed a new relationship with Jet fan, now Bear fan can become your new
come get a taste, Bear fan. That's what I say.
Just moves on. Pretty soon, all 32 teams will be mad at you.
It's a chance I'm willing to take.
I know you are.
Hey, for everybody involved in the Secret Truth Podcast, we truly appreciate you guys. Download it, subscribe, do whatever it is. I should put a subscribe button on there, but I looked at that via YouTube. I looked at how to do that, Mike. It's above my technological.
We'll put Sean to work over there. Sean does a good. Sean Gates, by the way, does a great job for us. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. Way above my scope of knowledge. As a general studies major, that one's more
What do you like
advanced.
to say about your knowledge?
It's an inch deep, mile wide. I know a very little about a lot of different things. Henceforth, the degree in general studies.
There you go.
College of Liberal Arts. University of Idaho, go Vandals. All right. We'll talk to you guys later on in the week.